This is Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review with your NHL Early Lines report for the games taking place on Tuesday, November the 3rd. We've got an interesting slate of games as always on a Thursday here in the NHL. Busy card. We're going to break down several of the games. We're going to start with the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Rangers in what should be a very interesting West versus East matchup. Two pretty good hockey teams at this moment. I mean, the Rangers are 7-3. Edmonton is 7-2-1. Two teams that have gotten off to good starts and should make for an interesting game. The New York Rangers coming off back-to-back home wins against St. Louis and Tampa Bay, outscoring both of those teams 11-1. Impressive victories for the Rangers. You know, Rick Nash, Matt Zuccarello, Jimmy Vesey has been phenomenal, this college kid they signed. I mean, offensively, they're getting a great contribution from everyone. Henrik Lundqvist in net has been solid. So definitely the Rangers, tough team to beat right now, especially at home. 6-1 at Madison Square Garden this season, this Rangers team playing good hockey. So is Edmonton, although Edmonton's lost two straight games against Ottawa and then a tough loss in Toronto, 3-2 in overtime on Tuesday. They outshot the Leafs heavily, but very good performance in net from Frederik Andersen, preventing the Oilers from winning that game. I think Edmonton is live here. You know, I know the Rangers have been great at home, 6-1 at home this season, but you're getting a plus 150 price tag here with an Edmonton team that prior to that loss against Toronto, they had been undefeated on the road, 3-0-1. They've picked up at least 1 point in every road game this season. I think after two straight losses, they played well enough to win in Toronto. I think they might be live here. I've liked Edmonton from day one this season as an improved team. Chris Russell, Andre Sekera, Darnell Nurse, Adam Larson, a much better blue line defensively. Cam Talbot's playing good in net. I think they could be live here maybe to steal a win and get the outright upset here against the New York Rangers in this hockey game. So I'll lean a little bit to the Oilers here at the nice, attractive plus price around plus 150. In that game. Vancouver-Ottawa next up, all-Canadian matchup. You know, Ottawa's starting to figure things out in terms of this Guy Boucher system. I mean, they have played better defensive hockey in recent games. That's been a big reason why we've seen this team start to win games, you know, and play better. And Craig Anderson, you know, it's really an amazing story. His wife recently diagnosed with cancer. She says, you got to go back, you know, despite my health concerns, my health scare, you go and play goaltender for this team. They need you. Just an unbelievable sacrifice being made in tough circumstances. And Craig Anderson has responded. 2 starts he's made since that cancer diagnosis became public knowledge for his wife. Boy, he's been phenomenal. I mean, 2-0 shutout against Edmonton, 2-1 win in overtime against Carolina, 70 shots faced, made 69 saves on those 70 shots, only allowing 1 goal. He is locked in right now. That's bad news for this Vancouver team. They've lost 5 straight games, scored 2 goals or less in 4 straight games. This offense starting to sputter. You know, the Henrik and Daniel Sedin line with Louis Eriksson has been contained a little bit in recent games, and after you get behind that line, boy, there's a big drop-off in scoring depth with this Vancouver Canuck forward group when you go beyond that. They are getting Alex Burrows back this week. That's a good sign. That should help. But, you know, still missing Chris Tanev, one of their key blue liners. That's going to affect them a little bit in this game. And Vancouver, you know, defensively, they're still a capable hockey team. They've gotten solid goaltending this year from Miller and from Jacob Markstrom at times. And Ottawa, you know, they're not a team that's going to score goals in bunches, and we've seen that now in their recent games. I mean, they've scored 3 goals or less now in 5 straight games, 2 goals or less in 4 of those 5 games. So this has the makings to me of a lower scoring game, 5.5. Minus 140, the total in this game. I'd look under the total. I think we're going to get a lower scoring game. Again, Ottawa's starting to play this 1-3-1 trap of Guy Boucher and starting to play it a little bit better. You know, they've allowed a goal or less to 3 of their last 4 opponents. So this should be a lower scoring game. And right now I'm not going against Ottawa, that's for sure. I mean, the price is high. It's a back-to-back for Vancouver, but not looking to make a case against Ottawa. New Jersey, Florida, next game on Thursday slate that we'll talk about. I'm a little surprised Florida's as big a favorite as they are here. I know people have not been high on New Jersey for years. They've not been a good team for years, but I think there's signs of life being shown by this Devils team. I think they are showing signs of improvement. They're 4-2-2 on the season, 2 regulation losses, 2 overtime or shootout losses. They've been very competitive. I mean, you look at the losses they've suffered. 2-1 loss at Boston, 3-2 overtime loss loss against Chicago. 3-2 loss at Tampa Bay. They've been in a lot of hockey games this year, and they've played Florida already once this season, and it was a tough 2-1 overtime loss in Florida back on October 13th, their first game of the season. So maybe a little revenge angle here for the Devils as they'll look to get back at the Panthers for that loss. And when you look at what Florida's done in recent games, they're starting to struggle. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. They only win against Detroit during that time. They've struggled offensively, and their last 4 losses, they've been held to 2 goals or less. Finally, we're starting to see the impact of Florida being without UC Okinen, Jonathan Huberdeau, Nick Bjugstad. That's 3 of their top 5 or 6 offensive weapons up front, as far as I'm concerned. So Florida now is starting to have trouble getting consistent contributions offensively, and New Jersey, coming off a nice win against Tampa Bay, 3-1. Now they start this road trip. They play Florida, Tampa Bay, and Carolina all on the road. And those first games of a road trip, those are usually in focus spots, intensity from the team. They want to get off to a good start on any road trip that they go on. We'll get back to this game for play of the day for Thursday in the NHL at the end of this video. Boston, Tampa Bay, you know what? Tuukka Rask has made all the difference in the world for the Bruins. They were, they got outscored by 10-1 or something by Minnesota and the Rangers with Malcolm Subban and Zane McIntyre in net for them. Well, in 2 games with Tuukka Rask back from injury, they shut out Detroit. They beat Florida 2-1, 2-0 since Tuukka Rask has returned. Makes all the difference in the world for this team. Tampa Bay returning off a pretty sizable road trip. They went through Toronto, Montreal, New Jersey, Rangers, and then they ended it with a big emphatic win 6-1 against the New York Islanders. I thought that was a good spot for Tampa Bay off 3 straight road losses, and they proved it with a tremendous complete performance at both ends of the ice. Now they return home. That being said, Boston, despite injuries to David Backes and a couple on the blue line, they've continued to do good these last couple games, and they will have David Pastrnak back. He's finished his 2-game suspension. He'll be back on the ice for this game. Maybe a slight lean to the Bruins here. I think Tampa Bay, though, now that they got that win against the Islanders, they're going to want to get a winning streak going. So I'm not really in love with the Boston side, but if I had to bet it at the plus price, I'd lean to the Bruins there. St. Louis, Dallas. Hey, Dallas continues to struggle. They had that game in hand against Columbus, and Columbus comes back, ties it up, and then wins it in overtime. It's just been an absolute mess lately for this Dallas team, all because of the injuries. They've got so many guys out, Eakin out, Janmark out, Hemsky out, Patrick Sharp out. They do have Jason Spezza back, but boy, they're struggling mightily. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games, 1-5 Dallas in their last 6 games. Now you're taking on a St. Louis team coming off a lethargic 5-0 loss to the New York Rangers. I think the Blues, they'll be chomping at the bit to bounce back in this hockey game. So I can only bet St. Louis in this spot. Dallas, just struggling right now mightily, and back home off a 3-game road trip, not the greatest of spots either. Could only back St. Louis at the even money price there. Last game we'll look at, Pittsburgh and LA. Matt Murray back in net for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's returning for the Anaheim game on Wednesday. With this being a back-to-back, they'll probably go with Marc-Andre Fleury in net for this game. The Kings, they're a tough team. It seems I've had a tough read on them. I've been looking to bet against LA with Peter Budaj in net. I don't think he's quite number 1 goalie material at this stage of his career. But the times I've bet against LA, I've lost, and the times I've stayed off betting against LA, they've lost. So it's been bad timing for me with my thought process on trying to bet against the LA Kings. I know it's a back-to-back for Pittsburgh, but I would still lean Penguins in this game. Not sure I'll bet it, but Pittsburgh getting healthier. They could have Chris Letang back either for this game or for the Anaheim game on the night before on Wednesday. So getting healthier, getting all their pieces back. Of course, we know Sid Crosby's come back and has really helped this power play. The power play's been producing of late. So I would lean to the Penguins, even though it's a back-to-back situation for them. Facing Anaheim Wednesday and now LA Thursday. Don't forget they were off since Saturday. So I don't think fatigue should be much of a concern for this team. If I were to bet that game from a side perspective, I'd look to the Penguins. All right, let's wrap it up. It's play of the day time for the Thursday, November 3rd NHL card. Let's go back to the New Jersey-Florida game. I think we got a live pup here in this game in South Florida for this one. I think the Devils are showing signs of life. That was a good win at home against Tampa Bay. They've been in every single game. Most of their losses have been by 1 goal into teams like Chicago and quality teams like that. Taylor Hall's making a difference for this team. A little bit more offensive punch. They've got a more than capable defense. Corey Schneider, continues to play well for this team in net, and I think they're live. They can get a win here against a struggling Florida team, and you get the good price to go with it. Let's make it official. Let's go with New Jersey, the Devils, plus 130, rotation number 61. New Jersey, plus 130 as a live underdog in Florida against the Panthers on Thursday night. All right, that will wrap up my NHL Early Lines report for Thursday, November 3rd.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SPR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.